Greetings YouTubers, welcome to another edition on Let's Fix This Subaru rear wheel bearing. Well, this is what we're going to try to do. We did the other side and we got rid of most of the noise, so I figured I'd do another video here and we'll do the other side over here. I'm going ahead and taking the wheel off and the brakes. Pretty easy to do with all that. And then like the other side over there, we tried to get these bolts out from behind here with this new hub assembly, and I tried to knock them out and pull this off because part of this here is behind this e-brake assembly here, and I didn't want to tear any of this up, so I tried to get the hub out that way. It wouldn't come out. Then I took the bolts completely out, then I hit it here, but I couldn't get it at an angle without hitting these e-brakes, these emergency brakes. So what we did in the last video, we just took these off, and I hit this a few times and got it right off because it's rusted in there. So this is what we're going to do this time. We're going to take the bolts out in the back and we're going to take all this brake assembly stuff off. Then we're just going to get a hammer and see if we can just knock this out this way. The problem is the backing plate behind here will come out with this, well, there's a plate behind the backing plate here that the shoes ride on, these little clips here. This whole thing will come off, then you have to take a chisel in here and kind of separate it. So that's just how I'm going to be doing it on this side, and that's what happened to the other side. Let me show you the wheel bearing real quick. And here's a quick look at it. These are the bolts in the back here. We got to replace with 4 of them, and this slides on like that. This part that's actually gets frozen up in there is right here. We get a lot of rust in there, and it's kind of hard to get off. So this is what we're going to do there. And by the way, I did pick up that wheel bearing for about $43 free shipping on eBay off of some dealer. Now this nut here has already been taken off. I've gone ahead and used that guy over there. You can break this loose while the wheel is still on the ground, and some of you are saying, well, what size is it? Well, let me just look here real quick. I did remember it's an inch and something. Oh, let's see, we got 1.25 inch socket, just a regular little socket to break that loose. So what we're going to do before we start tearing all this stuff apart here, I got some paint here, red and white paint. We're kind of going to mark each side here. I'm going to take some pictures with my cell phone so I know exactly how this goes, like the springs here. There's a little backing plate, a little piece right here that you kind of got to watch for that and all that. So let me go ahead and mark this and start taking this all apart. All right, you can see we got it all marked up with some paint, no particular way, just reference marks for later so I can come back in here and check my camera and make sure that I got everything set up right. And this is always a smart thing to do when you're working on brakes, because you never know how sometimes you can look at one thing when you take it off, and when you go to put it back on, it looks entirely different. So always good to do that. So we'll get one more photo here. Now we'll go ahead and start disassembling all this stuff. I have a rag laid out. I'm going to kind of lay this on the rag the way it came off, just to make life a little bit easier. Hey, let me know where you're watching from right now. All right, we'll just kind of let this hang down there like that. And that is kind of got a big old rivet there. So there's paint markings on it, and I'll know how that goes. And oh, there's my rest of my brakes. And now we'll go ahead and take these 4 bolts out of the back. I believe those are actually, I think so. Yep, these are all 15. You can probably get 2 of them here, but the best thing is to lay up under there and get an extension and put up in there. And you can get all these bolts. I need to put a secondary safety jack under there for now. My 1943 jack there is working pretty good. And by the way, I got a block of wood up under here because there's not a lot of places to put that jack under there without damaging something. So let's go ahead and get this off. As we get our last bolt out here, I've already laid up under there and used the extension. If you want to see that video, how I did that, and actually see that, it's on my other playlist. You'll go to Subaru and you'll see Subaru and you'll see wheel bearing change, how I did the other side, but it's pretty simple to get under there and do that. There's not much content here. I'll be lucky to get 50 views, but I just want to put this video on my channel with the other one at the other side in case anybody ever runs into these issues getting it off. So there we are. It's ready to be tapped off. The one thing I need to do is take this hammer and kind of free that axle up just a little bit. And don't worry, the threads are cut way back in there. This end is smaller, so I won't damage anything here. So that's all the way back, and now we're just going to take the hammer and hit this a couple times. Let me set the camera up. All right, well, let's hit it a little bit. See, this way I can hit it without damaging the brake shoes that were on here. And you can see just how froze that is on there, so I may have to actually get a bigger hammer. This one here is kind of busted there and busted there. I got another hammer. Let me go get it. I don't trust the hammer anymore. Alright guys, so I've been hammering on this thing for 15 minutes. Just now finally getting it to move. even with this big hammer, I did put a chisel behind here, try to help it separate a little bit. It's starting to come, so basically what I did in the end, I just took the hammer and just hit this a bunch of times, and it started to move, so. There it comes. Jeez, holy cow. I thought the other side was tough. All right, so I'll just knock that axle back here a little bit more into it. All of that. You would have thought they would have tucked this backing plate here, this piece here, and had different bolts. But this is all bolted together, and boy, that bearing is shot. Look at that, look at the rust, and let's see if I can spin it here real quick. Oh yeah, it's bad. That's part of my noise there, so now I've got to get this plate here off of this, separated off the back of this. So if I clean this up a little bit and get my chisels in here, I can slowly probably get that off there. So let me see what we can do when I come back here, see how much we can get done. All right, we're slowly getting somewhere. It's days like today I wonder why I even do these videos, but I do them mainly for the people who appreciate them. And maybe you're here and you're one of those, I don't know. So I put this thing on a cloth, and I just tuck my hammer and hit this, try to get all the rust off of it, because the bearing is starting to come, the whole assembly is starting to push down through this plate here. And once it starts doing that, you can take a chisel and go in here like this and kind of help separate it. And that's what we're starting to do now. See that crack there all the way through there? And I've got a couple of these chisels, and we'll go on this side and see if we can get this one started with the other chisel. I got a smaller one I need to get. All right, so I'm doing different techniques. I got a small chisel on this side, and once it starts going, you can actually put your chisel on the inside right here, and you can actually pull this apart a little bit easier. But for now, I'm just taking my hammer and knocking this out like that. Once you get some oil in there, it really makes a difference. There we go. Hey, if you have a better idea how to do this, or a better video, a better way, put a video on the YouTube and put a link in my channel right here in the bottom of the comments. So I'll tell you what, I don't know any other way. Anyway, there's wheel bearing, it's off, and it's bad. Hear it. Of course, it didn't help that I was hammering on it, but we'll have 2 new wheel bearings on here when it's all done. So that is that. We didn't do any damage to the backing plate here. I guess that's what they call this. That's good, and that just kind of gives me like that. And we bolt our new wheel bearing on, and when we bolt the wheel bearing on, it'll pull that whole thing in, draw it in, is what I'm trying to say. And we're good. I put a little oil in there, kind of free it up to keep it from rusting. For the next person, if this vehicle's around for another 100,000 miles, it just turned over to 200,000. So these are the original OEM bearings. So let's get the new one on and start putting it back together. I got a couple of the bolts on the top here kind of started. I think you can see that. And we'll go ahead and get all 4 bolts in it. I'm not going to bore you all with putting all this back together. I'm going to go ahead and put all this back together and put the wheel on. We'll take it down the road and make sure it's going to run, because I don't want this video to be too long, because I got the same process in an earlier playlist on my YouTube channel. So you guys can check out the Subaru stuff that I've got on there. So let me go ahead and get all this back together and put the wheel on, and hopefully this will take care of our noise, and it'll be really quiet from here on out. Since winter's coming, because when you drive on ice and snow in wintertime, especially smooth snow, man, is it quiet. That'll be great. So anyway, let's get this on, and I'll see you back here shortly. She's all back together. Before we put the wheel on, I thought we'd take one quick look here at these brakes. And if you want to pause the video, if you're putting yours together and you got something backwards, you didn't quite go well as you thought it was going to go, putting everything back together, there's kind of a look at that. And that. And down on the bottom there, how it's kind of set up there with the springs and all. I think you can kind of see that right there. And on this side, not much. And back up on the top, we got that. So now we're going to put the rotor here on and put the wheel on. Let's take it down the road and see how she sounds. I can tell you by spinning this, man, is it smooth compared to what it was before. So hopefully we'll have no more noise in the back. At least that growling noise I used to hear. All right, everyone, I got some good news. The noise, well, it is gone. It's nice and quiet in here. no humming, no nothing. So both of those wheel bearings were bad. What a difference it made. So I'm glad we got that taken care of. And hopefully this video will give you some hope. Yeah, I got a TPMS light on. I got to figure out which one is bad. I might have to buy a tool for that to actually get that light turned off. But I'm so happy that we got that noise fixed. So thanks for watching, guys. It's about the end of the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If no, don't like it, give it a big old fat thumbs down. Until my next video, guys. See you later.